Hey everybody, this is Wally with Fan Fishing Classroom, and let's talk tonight's episode of The Flash, Flash 307. First off, we got to see Caitlin become Killer Frost, at least partially. Barry was able to bring her back from the brink. We find out that Julian is Dr. Alchemy, who's working under Savitar. Can never pronounce the names right. Caitlin reveals to the rest of the team the things Barry told her in the last episode about how he screwed up their lives, things he's done to them, unforgivable things. I mean, Dante being dead, Wally getting his powers, all these different things. I mean, we're even going to see in the crossover John have a blowout with Barry about him literally altering his family structure and life, from Sarah becoming John Jr. and all of that. And I mean, the fact that Iris can look at Barry and, disregard the fact that he's altered their lives so much. And she says, "You're not a god, you're not responsible for all this." I'm like, bullshit. You used your powers and with massive ramifications. You acted like a god. You can't deny it. You can't. You can try to sweet talk at the Barry all she wants, but the reality is he played God, and it bit him in the ass, and it hurt everyone around him. I mean, for all the good he's done just as much bad and caused a lot of these major problems that they've had over the series. I mean, Eobard Thawne, I know he killed Barry's mother, and they had this rivalry going back, so you can't really blame him on that. But then you can blame Barry on the fact of the wormhole, the Ronnie's death, and Zoom. I mean, for God's sake, if they didn't agree to let Barry go back in time and change the future and create that wormhole, Zoom probably would never found his way to Earth. A lot of people wouldn't be dead. And then you have Flashpoint, which is completely his fault. I mean, he goes back in time, saves his parents, and creates an alternate reality, and when he fixes it, everything's turned to crap. I mean, Caitlin's turning into Killer Frost, Dante's dead. He screwed with John Diggle's family. I mean, messing with the children. And as you all know from season 3, when Oliver made a move against used Lila as bait, and John hated him for months after that. That's pales into comparison with what Barry has done. I mean, and I wouldn't be surprised if John and Lila try to kill him. Not to mention the reemergence of Eobard Thawne and him being a major player on DC's Legends of Tomorrow. His existence at this point is a result of Barry's direct actions causing Flashpoint. I mean, all the things he's going to be doing in the timeline, creating the Legion of Doom. I mean, it's all as a result of Barry's actions, and how much longer can the rest of his team justify that it isn't his fault? I mean, they love him and all that, but Cisco kind of hates him at this point. Caitlin's on the knife's edge, and, I mean, Iris loves him, so she's going to be able to justify that longer, and so will Joe, because to him, they are his family, and all of that. But for how long can you justify a man's actions for the good he does when he does just as much bad, or even causes worse things to happen? I mean, I like this character, the Barry Allen. I love the show, but they've made it to where you really just want to punch Barry in the teeth and say, "Stop making these stupid ass mistakes." At least when Oliver makes mistakes, he doesn't have cosmic consequences. I think the Julian reveal as Dr. Alchemy was well done. It seems that even he doesn't want to be working with Savitar, but he's terrified of him, it looks like, at the end. And Julian striking a deal with Barry to keep his mouth shut about Caitlin if Barry quits being a CSI. That's a good move, a brilliant move. If Julian's trying to stay under the radar and to continue his work as Dr. Alchemy without Barry being under tow, potentially finding out. Obviously, I think he's going to be able to cover his tracks for a while, but eventually he's going to get found out. It's not a big reveal, but it's an inkling to what's going to be happening for a while. Next week, we have the 4-part crossover starting on Monday with Supergirl. There was no tie-in tonight to see that, Cisco had a vision of what was coming. They didn't show up. And, it's like, so how do you know he's going to end up on Supergirl's show? They're going to have to explain it and all of that. I mean, like last week's DC's Legends of Tomorrow, With the last 10 seconds, Sarah said, we got to go back to 2016. We got to help our friends. I thought there would be something like that in this episode, like Cisco getting a vision, an alien ship flying overhead, which is going to be unlikely, but I thought it would have been cool. The episode really showed a disharmony coming to the group due to Barry's actions. They can justify it for a while, but Cisco's pissed. Caitlyn's losing her mind. Wally's getting powers, and it's gonna be, I think, a big point this season that the team is really gonna fracture at some point. The fracture may not last forever. It's not likely to, but Barry's gonna have some amends to make. I mean, he's gonna have to bring the team back together, or the team's gonna have to, move on and forgive him. It's gonna be like when Oliver came back at the beginning of season 4, after everything that happened with Ra's al Ghul and the League of Assassins. Relationships change, team roles change. You got to rebuild those relationships and trust. And I think Barry's got a long way to go in that arena because, well, he's hurt them. He's hurt them a lot, and it's going to take a lot to rebuild those relationships. This is it for Fan Fiction Classroom. Stay tuned, class dismissed.